Your daily dose of sports talk is here. Highlights, interviews, and analysis. From the entertainment capital of the world, SportsWrap with Jason Page starts now.
Yes, it does, and great to have you with us on this Wednesday edition of the show. So much to do over the next 60 minutes, and we'll do it with some friends of the program. The one and only David Aardsma will be here. His SportsWrap goes inside baseball every Wednesday. Former big league reliever and closer, our MLB analyst. Get some thoughts with him on a whole host of issues around baseball, including the potential for a work stoppage. Does he think it'll happen? Will we miss games? All of that coming up a little later on in the program. Sam Yarnell will be here. We'll talk about the Stanley Cup Final, which we'll get into here in just a couple of minutes in the big story. NBA Final starts on Wednesday night. Knicks and Spurs in San Antonio. Spurs obviously a favorite, but the number's starting to creep down a little bit. The price on the Knicks not as high as it once was. What does that mean? And Sam and I will have our predictions for the series. That coming up a little later on in the show. A play you have to see to believe in odds and ends from Joe Adele. We'll get to that coming up a little later on as well. But we start things out as we always do on this Wednesday edition of the show. It's time for the big story. And the big story today begins with a reminder to go and sign up for the Daily Wrap. It's our daily newsletter from SportsWrap with Jason Page. It's exclusively on Substack. If you have not done so yet, scan the QR code right below me and go and sign up for the SportsWrap Daily Wrap Substack newsletter. Some days you can't watch the show. I get it. We all got a lot of stuff going on. We got busy lives. Go and sign up for the newsletter. You'll never miss anything that we're talking about on the show. The Substack newsletter. All right, we've got hockey to talk about. If you missed it on Tuesday night, Game 1, Stanley Cup Final, and didn't take long for the Carolina Hurricanes to get going. You know, we've talked about them being sluggish in Game 1s, and boom, they scored 2 goals early. They're up 2-0, and something happened for the first time ever. Road team, Game 1, Stanley Cup Final, was able to erase that deficit. The teams would be tied at 4 late in this game when Tomas Hertl winds up putting one in the net to give the Vegas Golden Knights an improbable 5-4 Game 1 win on the road in Carolina. And look, there's just something special going on right now with this Las Vegas team. And you never see it. You never see something like this happen where a team is, basically a borderline playoff team late in the season and makes a run to a championship. Tell me the last time you saw it. You don't see it in the NFL. You don't see it in the NBA. The closest we got to it was the Heat as a playoff team. They lost in the finals to the Nuggets. Interestingly enough, it almost happened with the Knicks. Almost happened with the Knicks in 99. I think they were an 8 seed, if I'm not mistaken, that year. And almost wound up winning the NBA championship. If Ewing doesn't get hurt, maybe they do. They'll have a chance to avenge that loss against the Spurs here 27 years later. But it's rare that you get teams that just crawl into the postseason, find their way in through the back door, and wind up winning a championship. It just doesn't happen often. And in the case of the Vegas Golden Knights, they fired their head coach, brought in Bruce Cassidy, fired Bruce Cassidy, brought in John Tortorella, and he's got that secret sauce working. Now here we are, Game 1, and again, Carolina lost Game 1 last series. They won the series in 5. So it's not like we're talking about a situation that is insurmountable for the Carolina Hurricanes. They've lost 2 games this entire postseason. Both of them now Game 1s. But Las Vegas, hats off to them. We'll see what happens for Game 2 on Thursday night in that series. There's the goal from Tomas Hertel that winds up being the game winner late stages of the third period as Las Vegas gets the 5-4 win in Game 1 in Raleigh. Okay, let's talk about tennis, which I wasn't planning to talk about, but we have to, because now there are no major champions left at Roland Garros. See, Patrick McEnroe, I called it Roland Garros, because I can't call it the French Open, apparently, because I got a history lesson on why it's called Roland Garros and not the French Open for those over there in Paris. Aryna Sabalenka, major champion, the French Open, that thing missing from her resume that she was so hungry to get. Iga Swiatek is out of the tournament. And what happens? Aryna Sabalenka, up in the second set after winning the first set, goes on to lose 10 straight games, gets bageled in the final set, en route to a 3-set loss to Diana Schneider. I'm done trying to figure out. This is one of the most bizarre tennis slams we have ever seen. I mean, we're in the quarterfinals. We're not even in the semis yet. No major champions left. And the only one that was left was Sabalenka. And now it is wide open on the women's side. We already know what's going on the men's side. Sasha Zverev is the only real superstar. He's the third-ranked player in the world that remains on the men's side. And he has to be considered a prohibitive favorite now to win this edition of Roland Garros, the French Open, whatever you want to call it. Matter of fact, go and look real quick on the women's side, or on the men's side, rather, at the futures. Zverev is minus 200. Jakub Mensik is plus 600. Felix Auger-Aliassime is plus 650. And on the women's side, good luck. Marta Kostyuk, who's a great story out of Ukraine. Mira Andreeva. Diana Schneider. I mean, it's a bunch of, who? I'll tell you the guy I'm rooting for, and I might have said this yesterday on the show. Marco Berrettini, who has been injury-prone his whole career. He's got a shot on the men's side. That's the guy I'm rooting for. And you can get Marco Berrettini right now at plus 1,500, so 15-1 on your money if you put it on Berrettini. That's the big story. We're talking hockey. Sam Yarnell's here next. Welcome back to the show. I've had my say in the big story. Let's see what Sam Yarnell has to say. Sometimes you just run into a buzzsaw. I used to play poker with this guy, Stevie Red. His name was Stevie Red. He actually just passed away in the last week. Rest in peace, Stevie. Battled cancer for years. Stevie Red used to have a saying when you'd be playing poker and you'd just be getting smashed with the deck. You know, you have pocket kings, and an ace comes out on the flop and stuff like that happens. Stevie Red used to always say, sometimes you're the bat, sometimes you're the ball. Sometimes you're the fly, sometimes you're the windshield. And right now, anybody playing the Las Vegas Golden Knights are the fly hitting the windshield. Because this team they keep finding ways to win games. They win 5-4, Game 1, Stanley Cup Final, Sam Yarnell, in Raleigh last night. And, I mean, Carolina jumps out to this 2-0 lead, and Las Vegas comes right back. They wind up getting the win in Game 1. And I know we talked about this yesterday on the show with Dennis. So, Carolina has been slow in Game 1s. They were slow in Game 1 in the Eastern Conference Finals against Montreal. So I don't know how surprised any of us should be that they lost this game, but it's the manner in which they lost it that is certainly going to have some people riled up in Raleigh for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like the exact opposite, Jason, especially at the beginning of this game. It looked like I'll tell you, I mean, I even sat with the people I was watching the game with 5 minutes into the game, and I said, wow, this is not the Carolina Hurricanes team we saw through the first 2 rounds of this playoffs. right? It looked like they had figured everything out. They came out with a vengeance. They came out and smacked Vegas in the face, like hit them harder in the face than they were getting hit in the face in games one of previous series.
Yeah.
So, it was a little bit perplexing there at the beginning to see them go up 2-0. And then for the first time in Stanley Cup Final game one history, a team comes back from being down multiple goals to eventually win the game. It was absolutely crazy to see what happened out of the Carolina Hurricanes. It's like for 8.5 minutes or so, they looked like, everything that we talked about them not being coming into this series. And then it all just fell apart. And then they went back to the game one Carolina Hurricanes that we were so used to, gave up 3 straight goals, lead evaporated like that, and they battled their way back into it down the stretch. What I'll say is kind of lost in all of the Carolina Hurricanes blowing this multi-goal lead in game one of the Stanley Cup Final is this was a great game. Like, this game had everything you wanted. There was physicality. It was back and forth. They were up and down the ice at times. Like, this game was incredible when we talk about what we want games in a championship series to be, Jason. So, I said it about the NBA series. I said it about the NHL series coming into both of these. I just want good series. I'm not ready for all this stuff to be over. I'm not ready to just look forward to football season for 2.5 months. I just want, give me 6 games in both these series so I don't have to go. So we take another week off of the 3 months that I'll have to spend just paying attention to football.
It's funny you say that because I think there's a better chance of the Knicks series going 6. Knicks Spurs series going 6. I know. That is a Patrick Ewing signed basketball for those of you new to the show. Behind me wondering whose signature that is. I do think the NBA final is always the better chance of going longer than the NHL because the NHL, there's just so many more variables involved. You can get a hot goalie. You can get a team that just slumps. You can get a bad matchup. I'm of the mindset that there's a better chance we get a long series out of the Knicks and Spurs. But John Tortorella said it best after the game. He said, I said it throughout the entire playoffs. It's a find-a-way league. And that's really been Las Vegas here throughout this postseason. It's just find a way. There isn't one formula. There's more, there's the old saying, there's more than one way to skin a cat. Sorry, PETA, don't get mad at me. It's not my saying. There's more than one way to skin a cat. That's sort of the mantra that the Golden Knights live by. It isn't any one thing. Carter Hart gets lit up for a couple of goals early in the game. They still find a way. Hurdle gets the late goal. That's just the way this Golden Knights team has done it throughout this postseason. It hasn't been anything glamorous or glorious about it, Sam.
Yeah, it's interesting because even with their game one win, Jason, the Vegas Golden Knights are only minus 150 now to win this series. Mm-hmm. The Carolina Hurricanes are only plus 125.
People saw what happened in the last series. Montreal hung up 6 on them in a 6-2 game one win. So of course the odds makers are going to be a little skeptical, and they should be.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And, the total games, which I think was 5.5 with juice to the over before the series, has now moved up a full game. It's at 6.5, heavy juice to the under still. But, it just goes to show you, man, one game in this kind of series, it just shifts everything about how we think about it. I'll say this, plus 125, I'd be looking to get in on the Carolina Hurricanes. I think that there's a realistic shot, especially in this Stanley Cup Final. Feels like you can get plus money on both sides if you play your cards the right way.
Yeah,
feels like you can get a nice plus 125 in your pocket with Carolina here. They win game 2 going back to Vegas. Feels like you're going to be able to get a plus 120-ish on the Vegas side. I'll take my chances with that and make my 20 cents.
I'll guarantee you there were a lot of people who thought the same way going into game 2 in Colorado with this Golden Knights team going up against the Avalanche, though, who got burned by that same idea, Sam, saying, well, Colorado's going to get it back to Vegas at 1-1, and it didn't happen. So I would just caution people. I mean, Sam dispenses advice. Sometimes it's right. Sometimes it isn't. On this one, I'd be very careful with Las Vegas right now. Be very careful. Just saying.
It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see. They have not played besides that Avalanche series. I think their other two series were 6-game series. So I think this one's going to go long. I think the Hurricanes at least have a win in their bag.
We shall see. 12-1 going into this game in the postseason was Carolina. And look, we can get a similar scenario. We're going to talk about the NBA a little later on in the show. On the Knicks and Spurs, and sort of look at the odds in that series and maybe some picks we like and don't like. But it's it's the same thing with the Knicks, who won 11 in a row going into this game tonight and are going to get a real dose of reality going into San Antonio for game 1 of this series. Yeah, real quick. Yeah. It looked like you had something to say.
No, it's just the rest versus rust conversation is going to be very different when we have it next segment about basketball as opposed to this one was about hockey.
Yeah. We'll do that a little later in the show. David Aardsma talks baseball with us. Coming up. Welcome back to the show. It's a Wednesday on SportsWrap. You know what that means? We're talking baseball. SportsWrap goes inside baseball with the guy whose voice you could hear. I don't know what he was saying because I had him potted down, but David Aardsma is here.
Saying it's the most important sport, without a doubt.
Former big league reliever and closer hangs out with us. May have seen him on the regional coverage from the Eugene Regional at the college baseball World Series, postseason, whatever the hell they call it. I actually was watching, can I tell you? I actually watched a little bit of this. For some reason, every time it popped on my TV, I was riveted to the softball World Series.
That's awesome.
Oh my
softball
God.
World Series is so much fun. Dude, they play, it's great. They play so fast. The game's happening so much. The girls are into every play. The crowd's good.
The rules are weird.
Watching the softball World Series,
but the rules are weird. Like you could take a pitcher out and put the pitcher back in. I'm like, what is going on here?
Now you could do that in baseball.
Really?
There's nothing stopping us. There's nothing stopping us from taking a pitcher and putting him in right field for a batter, and then bringing him right.
In college,
you can have a pitcher in right field.
In college, you mean?
No, in MLB.
Really? Major League Baseball.
As long as you don't take him out of the game. You can get a couple pitchers and have them be good enough right fielders and have them in right field and then like have a lefty out there and just constantly all game switch. Yep.
Really?
Yeah. Nothing stopping us. We just tend to take a pitcher out and take him out of the game.
Wow. I just learned something new. Okay.
Yep.
There you go. David Aardsma was on the college baseball World Series in Eugene. We'll ask him about that in the next segment. I want to get your thoughts on, I want to open this on a bit of a down note, and then we'll get into some of the baseball stuff coming up a little later on. This whole thing with Bruce Meyer and Rob Manfred now. This is the new, Bud Selig, Donald Fear dynamic that's sort of in play here. By the way, that is not Howie Mandel on your screen. That is Bruce Meyer. They are kind of doppelgangers for each other. By the way, in your time being in baseball, was Bruce Meyer a presence back when you were in baseball playing?
Yeah, he was around but I've been associated with the Union so long. Even after I retired, I've been around them and seeing them, and obviously he's been a presence. I was not expecting, I was like everybody wasn't expecting what would happen with Tony Clark and Bruce Meyer to just kind of take over. But he's a guy. He's a Union guy. He's a strong-minded, strong-willed, and very Union person. So I was okay with it. It just he didn't have that probably the backing of everybody at the beginning because you were so Tony Clark. But you know what? I'm behind him now.
Well, they better be because it feels like him and Rob Manfred are already at loggerheads here on this thing. And I get it's the opening salvo. The Players Association gives its first proposal. MLB comes back with theirs, but Bruce Meyer basically was like, I thought they'd at least fake it a little bit, like they were trying to get to a deal. What do the early proposals from both sides tell you? One,
we have to very, very clearly about this. So I was on the negotiating committee for a couple of years for two CBAs. I was a union rep, so I will be honest, I'm very pro union side of this whole thing. I was also a player. There's a lot that happens behind the scenes that you don't know. A lot of conversations, a lot of things that you see on camera aren't necessarily what's being talked about behind closed doors. It's camera work. It's the players' side is usually very straightforward. Like, we know exactly what the players want. Everybody knows what the players want. So what their players are communicating is usually pretty accurate to their argument. The owners on the other side, like, sometimes there are a lot of different factions of the ownership that don't all agree with each other. Their job on the ownership side, on the lead negotiator side, is to try to get all these different factions on the same page. It is not easy to get a Yankee owner, Dodger owner, Rocky owner, Marlins owner, Rays owner, Pittsburgh owner to get all on the same page and to tell the Yankees and the Blue Jays, Dodgers, hey, you're going to pay a lot of money to these teams. These teams, by the way, like, you're going to get a lot of money, but you have to spend it. There's a lot of different arguments there. So sometimes these proposals that you hear publicly aren't what's all going out there. But we know there's two main spots that I guarantee you are accurate. They want a cap. Owners or players don't want a cap. I'm fine with them putting their lines in the sand. We all know it. We all knew it ahead of time. The key with the players, because there's so many constituents, so many players, they can't be unclear about exactly where their line is. They can't play this soft game with a sour cap. It has to be a hard line. It's been a hard line since the moment the union has been in existence.
Yeah,
that line has never changed. The owners have always tried to press against it, and the line has never changed. They've moved on luxury tax. They've given on the draft. They've basically given caps on draft picks. Internationally, we've created these caps basically on international players. But there has to be a hard line somewhere, and I'm glad they took it.
All right. If these are the lines, though, if this is the end-all, be-all, owners, Manfred, want a cap, the players don't, is this the time where this thing finally gets to a point where neither side budges and we do have a work stoppage? And if not, why?
The only thing I'm worried about is that these players, this entire generation, have had pseudo caps in different ways their entire existence, and that this group of players, because of that, might have softened up on a hardline cap. But at the end of the day, I do believe there won't be a cap. I believe there will be stronger luxury tax or stronger forcing lower market teams to spend money at the same time and putting harder lines on the upper level teams. I think there'll be harder lines within contracts that you can't do a Shohei type of contract ever again. Stuff like that. There won't be a
backload. You mean deferred compensation. That
with
sort of
deferred
thing.
compensation. With with the way that entire contract was built. There's going to be stronger things like that. Stronger things where the Dodger ownership group, when they shifted over years ago, how they basically got to take advantage of the Major League Baseball system, which is what put them in this position right now where we're at. Things like that get to be re-looked at. I think there will for sure be changes there. There will be no cap. We will have a work stoppage of some sort. There's not going to be a cap.
David Ardsman's hanging out with us. We're going to do another segment of baseball with him, get to some stuff on the field as we continue on this Wednesday edition of SportsWrap. Welcome back to the show. Enjoy baseball. There's going to be a work stoppage, says David Ardsma. That's the headline.
One of the interesting things about the proposal is that how the owners are all of a sudden, these small market teams can pay up to $150 million, and they have all this money that they're okay with. No change, but all of a sudden they can spend $150 million, like a Pittsburgh or whoever can spend $150 million. Like, where did that come from? And why aren't they doing it now? Now they can spend this money. They have it. We're okay with that. But now they're spending 60, 70, and all of a sudden they don't have money. It's an interesting conversation.
All right. Let me get your thoughts on a few things here. Aaron Judge.
Yes.
Aaron Judge, shoulder, bone bruise, going to miss a few days. They're going to have him examined by Dr. Ahmad, it sounds like. So how concerned should Yankee fans be given the fact that he's obviously had some of these injury issues, the shoulder, the elbow, whatever you want to worry about it being? How concerned should Yankee fans be when they hear about this?
One, Dr. Ahmad is an awesome doctor. He was my doctor for a surgery. Incredible person, incredible doctor. He knows what he's doing. Two, okay. I wouldn't be too concerned. Other than bone bruises tend to take time, and there's nothing you can do. There's nothing. There's a lot of things you are going to be doing,
right? But
rest. That's the biggest problem with this whole thing. Is rest is the number one way to get rid of a bone bruise. And if it's bothering that much, I think they can get to a point where there's a day-to-day manageable situation. It's just, how do you do it at this point? For me, I rest him as much as I can right now, take my lumps, have my team get beat up a little bit so I can have a healthy July, August, or just August, September, October, hopefully November.
Later in the show, we're going to show the Joe Adele off the head.
No, we don't call him Joe.
Run.
He's not Joe anymore.
What is he?
Jose.
Okay. Jose Adele?
Jose Canseco, Joe Adele.
Yeah, I'm Jose Canseco! All right, so he has a ball go off his head. It's all emblematic of what's going on with the Angels, how big of a disaster this is. Do you imagine them being big sellers at the deadline? And is a guy like Adele, as much as we're laughing about him right now, is he the kind of guy that could go at the deadline?
Possibly, without a doubt. We've been in this kind of middle ground with this team for a long time.
Right now, they're last in all of baseball. I mean, they're terrible.
I mean, what are they, 23 and 39? I mean, again, yes, the last in baseball. The Royals are right there with them. Like, who thought the Royals would be there?
Yeah.
The Mets aren't far away from them. The Giants are there. There's a lot of teams in this weird spot that we didn't think the Angels would be this bad. We thought they'd be 500. They do have a lot of talent on that team, a lot of like middle tier talent. The problem is they have a lot of middle tier talent. They have a lot of like middle of the road guys. Like without a doubt, I think they're at a point now with Joe Adele. He's got 4 years in. This is his 5th year. Like, you get something for him, right? Like, you get something for some of these people.
Yeah.
I love Zach Neto. I love some of these players, but they have such a middle of the road lineup that, like, if I saw them on a Tuesday night, I'd be like, yes, the Angels. Like, all right. Like, I love Mike Trout with every little bit of my heart. He's having a resurgence of a type of season.
Sure.
And still,
but he doesn't want to get traded. He doesn't want to. I mean, he's had so many opportunities to waive his no trade, and he doesn't do it.
Sometimes you get punched in the face enough, and you kind of might want to give it a shot.
Phillies?
To me, if he ever wanted to just get a fresh look, get a fresh set of like coaches and doctors and all that stuff, like get out there a little bit. At this point, you're 35, just get an opportunity. I think there's people here that can move, and if I'm the Angels, I'm moving all of them.
Yeah, because
I might, you've just built a team around Neto. I might, because there's no one else. I mean, I love Joe Adele.
If it's not bolted to the floor, I think they should consider moving it at this point.
Everybody, I mean, the whole team's hitting 230 basically. Like,
If you are the Detroit Tigers, are you dealing Skubal?
I am. If I haven't already been able to sign him to a long-term deal, you don't have enough money in Detroit to be able to sign him. Like, you can combine all the teams and combine their money, try to sign him. I know obviously he's still coming back from his thing, but at this point, with what we've seen from this team and where they've gone from super contender right in the middle of it, in the thick of everything, to out.
Who could give them the best? Who could give them the best? Who could give them the best package?
The Dodgers.
Stop it! Stop it!
They're all reality, right? They can give them major league ready players.
Stop.
they can give them major league ready baseball players, and the Dodgers can move maybe even some of their salaried guys.
Well, you are ruining my Wednesday right now, man.
I'm ruining it, but they're going to be in the heart of it. They're going to be in the thick of it. When you're looking at it, the Padres might be really interesting. I just don't know if the Padres front office wants to be able to take something like that on when considering where they're at. I mean, the Cubs. If I'm the Cubs, I'm super highly considering this. It's an interesting thought because right now, if you all you have to give up is prospects. So you're looking at like a Pittsburgh who might be an interesting position. A Guardians, if they'd ever be even consider that type of thing, every team in the Beast of the East might consider it. I guarantee they're all going to be in conversation.
Yankees. The one team you didn't mention is the Yankees. Do they not have enough prospects?
I don't know if they have. I don't know if the Yankees have enough real prospects.
David Aardsma, he's going to hang for a couple extra questions for the YouTube audience. Always does a great job. So SportsWrap going inside baseball. If the Dodgers get Scooble, I'm just not watching baseball anymore. I've already decided. David, always appreciate you, my man.
Thank you.
Coming up in 10 minutes, it's some odds and ends. Joe Adell went from having one of the greatest nights in the history of baseball defensively to pulling a Jose Canseco. I'm Jose Canseco! Bonus points if you know the reference, by the way. All right. NBA Finals, Game 1. Now, keep in mind, the show airs in different places at different times by the time you watch this. And this is why you should be checking out the YouTube channel. The show airs on the YouTube channel before it airs anywhere on television on over 260 affiliates. Not my fault. So, if you catch this before, these are some great picks for you. If not, you are out of luck. So we've got the NBA Finals kicking off in San Antonio on Wednesday night with the Knicks and the Spurs going at it. And it's time to give some betting advice. Now, look, keep in mind, I am a Knicks fan, so there is not a world there is not a world where I am going to pick against the Knicks in this series. I have waited 27 long years for the Knicks to get back to the NBA Finals. I have waited 53 years, 48 of which I've been alive, for the Knicks to win an NBA championship. There is not a world, Sam Yarnell. There is not a world where Jason Page is going to pick against the New York Knicks. So, anything I say about the Knicks winning the series, take it with a grain of salt. Sam, on the other hand, who is a bit of a New York hater, let's be honest, not the Knicks, because you all year long you were kind of on the Knicks, if I remember correctly.
It's true. It's true.
So all year long you were on the Knicks. You're just a New York sports fan hater. In general.
Realist. I prefer the term realist.
No, you're a hater.
I'm honest with New Yorkers about how bad their teams actually are, whereas the rest of the seeming sports media world wants to live in some fantasy land where New York sports are actually good every year, which is actually not that true.
Yeah, you've got a case. You've got a case of haterade. You really do. You've got a case of haterade. Let's just be honest about it, and that's okay. It's okay. Not everybody can be us. Not everybody can be a New York sports fan. It's fine. So we got Knicks and Spurs. Your odds on the series, for those who have been keeping tabs on these things, the Knicks, it just keeps creeping lower and lower. You know, I think the Knicks were like plus 185 when the finals were consummated. The Spurs and the Knicks. The Knicks are now plus 160, and the Spurs are minus 190, Sam Yarnell. So, to start with, let's not bury the lead here. Who wins the series, Sam Yarnell?
I think the Spurs win the series. I get that the Knicks are playing good basketball right now and anything. They're playing basketball better than anybody in the NBA right now, and I won't disagree with that. The thing is, the Spurs play like it's a conversation, Jason, that we had during the NFL season, right? Because we had, if you'll remember, we had that incredible early in the season Monday night game between the Bills and the Ravens. And I think the next Monday night game had like the Cleveland Browns in it or the Houston Texans in it or something. And the discourse online and the discourse that we had on this show was, we're watching two different sports here. We're watching two different sports. When Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen are on the field, that's one sport. And then you throw the CJ Stroud and Cam Ward on the field, and that's a completely different sport. And it just feels like that is what we're walking into in this NBA Finals. The Knicks have played, again, I cannot say this enough, they have played incredible basketball. They saved their best, a good basketball team this year, saved their best basketball of the year for the month of May. That is exactly what you hope for as a basketball fan. The problem is I'm still, even after an entire regular season and playoffs, still not sure that the Spurs are playing basketball. Feels like they're playing basketball too at this point. It's like what we were watching in the Western Conference Finals as opposed to the entirety of the Eastern Conference playoffs, because quite frankly, a 4-game Eastern Conference final isn't enough to draw straws from, because the Knicks absolutely wiped the Cavs in that series. Yeah, I'm going to go with the Spurs simply because it feels like they are just on a different level than the Knicks right now. But again, I won't write anything off, Jason. I'm not going to sit here and say that, oh yeah, the Spurs are going to win this series as easily as the Knicks won the ECF.
Yeah. You're not going to bet Maddie's paycheck on it, is what you're saying. You might bet yours, but you're not going to bet Maddie's paycheck on it, is what you're basically telling me. And I would also say I'd bet my paycheck as opposed to my husband's, because I can't. Look, I think the Knicks are going to win in 6. Let me just get that out on the record. I think it goes 6, because I think if it goes 7. And they got to win a Game 7. Not that they can't win a Game 7 in San Antonio, but it would be a major climb for them. I think the Knicks win in 6. They'll celebrate at Madison Square Garden, and it'll be one of the greatest and most glorious celebrations of all time. I will go Knicks in 6. So how many games? Spurs in?
I'll say 6.
All right.
Yeah.
Kurt Heelan said Spurs in 5 or 7.
Yeah, I might say 5.
Oh, my God.
A way that I like to gauge these kinds of things, Jason, because I guess the sports books still haven't figured this out yet, but they post all these lines and all these handicaps and yada, yada, yada. But if you go look at, because every sports book does this, they have series correct order, right? You go look at what the series correct order favorites are, and you can kind of deduce where you should be at.
Yeah.
I got bad news, my friend. Spurs to sweep is the favorite.
Victor Wembanyama minus 165 to win Finals MVP. Jalen Brunson at plus 195, and then there's a huge drop-off after that. Those would be the 2 picks.
If you like the Knicks, bet on Brunson.
We're coming back. Odds and ends are next. Welcome back to the show. Just about time to put the wraps on this baby for a Wednesday. I had to look and see what day it was. Tomorrow on the show, NBA Finals recap. Game 1 will be in the books. Tell you what's going on over at the French Open. Thanks to Patrick McEnroe for hanging out on the show on Tuesday from Roland Garros. He also gave me a history lesson on why it's called Roland Garros now and not the French Open, apparently. I still think it's dumb. My whole life it was the French Open. Now all of a sudden it's Roland Garros. So we'll get to that coming up on tomorrow's show. If you miss anything from the show, there's so many ways to access SportsWrap with Jason Page. We have the audio version of the show, the podcast version of the show, available on the SportsWrap with Jason Page podcast. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can listen to us Monday through Friday, crystal clear audio, available early on in the day. Go and check that out. The SportsWrap with Jason Page podcast. Extended conversations also available there. If you go there today, you'll see a extended conversation with Patrick McEnroe that we did yesterday. You only heard about half of it on the TV show. You get the full version inside the audio podcast of Sports Wrap with Jason Page. Same thing with Kurt Heelan. You'll want to go and check those out. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel is the place to find all things Sports Wrap with Jason Page. Monday through Friday TV version of the show is available there. Sports Wrap originals are there. Who are the 5 players that are going to make the biggest impact on these NBA finals? You can find that out right now with Sports Wrap originals. Also, the Sports Wrap with Jason Page YouTube channel features Sports Wrap shorts. 1 to 3 minute long vertical videos covering the top stories in sports, the biggest stories, the biggest games. Sports Wrap Shorts has those covered. Sports Wrap Shorts also available on our TikTok, Sports Wrap Jason Page, and on our Instagram by that same name, Sports Wrap Jason Page. And now, without any further delay, on this Wednesday edition of the show, it's time for some odds and ends. Odds and ends, Sam Yarnell. Joe Adele. You want to talk about the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. Boy, oh boy, is that Joe Adele. By the way, this is the second time Joe Adele has actually caused a home run in the outfield. I think he did last year against the Rangers. He had one go off his glove and over the wall for a home run in a game in Texas, if I'm not mistaken. And then last night at home against the vaunted Colorado Rockies, what happened to Joe Adele? He pulled a Jose Canseco, Sam Yarnell. It went off his head. It went off his head for a home run for the Colorado Rockies in an eventual Rockies win. And he has put himself in the annals of baseball history, as Jose Canseco once did for the Texas Rangers against the then Cleveland Indians at Old Cleveland Municipal Stadium. You can see the highlight for yourself. Joe Adele off the noggin over the wall for a home run, and nothing encapsulates what is Los Angeles Angels baseball more than this right now.
Yeah, the funniest thing is this isn't the first time it's happened to Joe Adele. A lot of people forgot about this, but it happened back in 2020 in that shortened season. In a home game, he went to try, and someone put out the clip, and I immediately remember it. He was running after a ball in right field. He went and tried to catch it, and it hit off of his glove and went over the fence. This guy's just got a problem. When it comes to being anywhere near the fence, he either makes the best play you've ever seen or the worst play you've ever seen, and it seems like there's no in between. And hey, if I'm a Major League Baseball franchise and this guy hits the way that we know that he's capable of, and this guy makes the plays that he makes 1/10 of the time, I'm good with it. He'll keep his job. He'll be fine. But yeah, very weird. That's one of those things where it's like, if I had a nickel for every time a baseball hit Joe Adele while he was trying to field it and it went over the fence, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's dealt at the deadline, by the way, as bad as they are. You know, he could be a guy that some teams call around about. They are 20. Wow, the Angels are 23 and 39 right now. Are they worst in baseball? They are. They are the worst record in baseball right now.
Yeah, but guess what? They're not going to trade him they're not going to trade Mike Trout, because we know exactly what this franchise does. They don't trade their players.
Well, I don't think Trout wants to.
Trout's
got the no trade. So, I mean,
yeah,
if he wanted to go,
why would he not want to at this point join the Philadelphia Phillies? Why on earth would he not want to go join the Philadelphia Phillies at this point?
We could have said that for years, though, and he hasn't. He just doesn't want to for whatever reason. Mike Trout wants to finish his career out in Los Angeles. I can't tell you why, but he wants to finish his career out in Los Angeles. It's one of the mysteries of the world.
It's because the Angels are an organization that run themselves into the ground. Drake
London, real quick. What do you get? 4 years, 120, something like that. 140, something like that. A lot of money for the Falcons to be given out to Drake London, but he's getting it.
Yeah, something crazy. I mean, this has been the offseason of overpaying the wide receivers, right? What did who was it? Was it Oh my gosh, the Colts wide receiver. Why can't I think of his name? Off the top
I know
of my
who you're
head?
thinking of.
That's
though.
not good.
Yeah,
that's not
okay.
good.
All right.
Michael Pittman. I'm not thinking of Michael Pittman.
No,
but
I
Michael
know.
Pittman also got a ton of money from Pittsburgh, I believe. There's just wide receivers are just getting paid left and right. Jason, it's getting weird. I don't think Drake London is $100 million man.
By the way, Yankees still can't beat a good team. They lost to the Guardians last night. It's going to do it for us.
The Guardians are leading the AL Central.
I said the Yankees can't beat a good team.
Oh, a good team.
That's what happened. Thanks to David Ardsma. Thanks to you, Sam Yarnell. We'll catch you back here on Thursday for an all-new edition of Sports Wrap. See you then.